Bodybuilding fans around the world, welcome to another Primetime Muscle. Tim Wilkins, joined by Tarek El-Guindy.
Thank you so much, Tim. Great to be here. Love your outfit.
Thank you. And Chris?
How you doing, Tim?
Real deal, Chris Cormier. Hello, my friend.
Chilling, man.
And digging it. You part of the Louis Vuitton race team now?
Yeah, Louis Vuitton race team. That's how we do it.
Just for a question, how much did you invest on that T-shirt?
Well, who's looking at the price tag? You know what I'm saying?
If you have to ask, Tarek.
Who's looking at the price tag?
No, because I think these guys, they pay $800, $900 for a T-shirt.
It's like 13.
You know, $1,300.
1,100. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of my T-shirts, if they're not throwing them out from the booth at the expo, I don't really own a T-shirt that doesn't say a supplement company on it. Just saying. All right, you are far more stylish than we are.
Look at your face.
You know, guys, we've got some exciting shows coming up that are overseas this year. The Olympia, of course, is going back to Orlando, but the Masters Olympia going to Cluj-Napoca, Romania.
Cluj-Napoca.
Cluj-Napoca. We love to say it.
Say it like you want to be romantic.
Cluj-Napoca.
Ah, Tim Wilkins.
You're an eye guy. You like to wink the
Tim
eye.
Wilkins.
So, that said, though, Masters Olympia has been all over. We're glad to have it back. But the Olympia has been all over the world. Where are some of these exciting places? So this is nothing new.
Rimini, Italy.
Rimini, Italy.
Were you in that one?
No.
Okay.
It was just before I was coming up, I was watching. It was really good. Lee Haney won that one.
I've been to Rimini, Italy.
You have.
I've judged the show there. And
Labrada.
Beautiful
Taylor,
place, beautiful location, close to San Marino. And you know, sometimes I hear people on the social media, well, it was Nick Trigili that said, oh, Romania is so far. Put the camera on me. Nick,
Buddy.
I love you, buddy. I love you. You know, you're Mr. USA's 2014. If you're scared to go to Romania with us, you can come right next to me. I'll hold your hand because the entire world is going to be there. Myself, Chris Cormier, Tim Wilkins, Jay Cutler, and all the stars. So if you're scared to come to Romania, you're scared to leave your comfort zone, I'll hold your hand. We'll go together, big boy.
So these exotic, they're not exotic. They're exotic to Americans who don't leave Cleveland. For the rest of the world, though, going to Romania, going to Italy, going to Spain.
South Africa. Arnold Schwarzenegger, Lou Ferrigno, pumping iron. Who doesn't know what happened in South Africa, Australia, Finland, Italy? The bodybuilding world is all in. You know, we talk about some sports. You can't do a football game in Brazil, the NFL. You can't. People are not interested. People are not interested in the NFL in Russia.
England.
You know, well, it's once a year and they do a huge blast. But the NBA is not popular in some Asian countries. You don't have the NBA in Vietnam. Basketball is not huge.
Because no one can dunk. No one can dunk.
Correct. Oh,
China
Jesus Christ. Now we're canceled.
China loves
what about in Thailand? The Taipinas,
still can't dunk. Let me ask you this.
Can they dunk?
Oh, man.
Some can dunk.
So let me ask you this. So wasn't South Africa in the Olympia the one where Arnold got Lou to scream at every pose?
Absolutely. That was a historical moment in bodybuilding. There's that breakfast scene between Arnold Schwarzenegger, Lou Ferrigno, and his father. They're about to compete in South Africa. You know, we've had a great run in the United States, and we might continue to do so. But for a moment there, people thought the Olympia was only in Las Vegas. And Las Vegas is an awesome place. It's a destination. But when we went to Orlando, and now we are months away to go to Orlando. Was Orlando bad? It was awesome. People loved it. A lot more Europeans, a lot of the crazy Brazilians came. You know, so I'm not opposed to going New York, 1998. You competed, right? That was awesome.
That was at the Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
Ooh. MSG.
Imagine you could feel, I know Brazil like the palm of my hand in terms of bodybuilding. Imagine you did the Mr. Olympia at a stadium in São Paulo, Brazil. You're talking about 80,000 people watching that show. Now, let's go back to some of the other countries. Imagine you do a Middle Eastern Mr. Olympia. how passionate those guys are. Iran. Imagine you do a Mr. Olympia in Iran. Oh my God, it would be incredible.
I mean, not that we could, but
you know.
You'd only have men's divisions.
You know? Well,
yeah,
the women would be all covered up.
No, you're right about that one. The girls would be, let's do half of the Olympia in Italy, and then the guys fly to Iran. But hey,
the most boring wellness class ever.
I'm just thinking, 1992, Dorian Yates wins for the first time. That was in Finland. That's a historical show. People liked it, you know?
Yep. And then we've been in Chicago. I think I'll be in Chicago 96, and I think one before that. Been in Atlanta for 4 years in a row. It's been moved around.
Where would you like to see, Chris? You travel a lot. You go to a lot of places. Where would you like to see the Mr. Olympia outside of United States?
There's big places. There's England, there's Germany, there's Italy.
Pick one, Chris. Be specific.
Germany.
I was going to go Germany.
They're crazy fanatics there for bodybuilding. Germany. What about you, Tim?
I was going to say Germany. You know, and you forget this, and we forget as Americans that we're not the center of the world, much less the earth. To be more centrally located from everybody coming from the east, from the west, and the north, and the south, Germany's kind of in the middle. Germany's a lot more centrally located than some of the other cities in America could be.
Well. Now you're a little bit too far from the west coast of United States. You're about 5 hours further than Orlando. And if you're that far, then you're talking about the Asian countries such as Japan, such as Taiwan, such as China, being even further because they can just cross the Pacific to come to Vegas. So, yeah, you get a lot of more Europeans, but you might lose some of the Asian community. But Germany is a very passionate. I might be biased, but there are two places that if you look at the demographics, man, India, wow. Sharu and Manish, they put on amazing shows in India. They have those expos. You're not talking about 80,000. You're talking about 250,000 people. And Indians, they love bodybuilding. They're into it, especially men's physique. The possibility is there. I want you to like, subscribe, and write a comment. Let us know right now because we're going to talk to the Olympia owner, Jake Wood. And we're going to let him know that the people from Primetime Muscle, they want the Mr. Olympia in your country. If you are the country with more comments, we will make a special request, aka invitation, so that the Mr. Olympia might be considered in your country. Is it India? Is it Brazil?
Is it Germany?
Is it Germany? We don't know. We don't know.
I have no idea.
But it might happen. And you better be ready.
Well, it is going to be interesting to see who shows up, where it goes, what your thoughts are, where it would be better served, or where you'd just like to see it for the sake of fanatical fans, exciting, where more of the competitors are coming from, because we see now the big resurgence in Brazil. A lot of the Canadians have moved to the U.S.
Brazil would be
awesome. Look at the World Cup. The World Cup, they did it in Qatar. You know, people were very critical about being in Qatar. They're like, oh, it's a small country. They reached a market that they had never reached before. All the Arabic countries, they fell in love with the World Cup. And then Morocco, who's an Arabic country, a Muslim country, got to the semifinals. It was wonderful. It was awesome. The World Cup went to, in 2002, they did it in Japan and South Korea. Now you get the entire Asian community to embrace soccer, to feel the World Cup. And who makes more money than the World Cup? Nobody. I mean, we're talking about billions of dollars every year. And they're not afraid to put it in different places. They're not doing just in Italy, Germany, or Brazil, which are the main countries. They're getting out there because they want to make the World Cup international, worldwide. And I think we have the possibility to do that with the Mr. Olympia.
Sounds good to me, Terry.
Well, as always, you tell us where you'd like to see an Olympia or a 3 or 4 year run of the Olympia. Like, subscribe, share. Give us your thoughts, and we'll talk more when we come back on Primetime Muscle.
You diet down, train hard, and supplement smart for months. When the time comes to step on stage, don't leave your tan to chance. Go with the pros. Pro Tan. #1 worldwide since 1987 and the official sponsor of the Olympia for the last 15 years. Don't step on stage without it. Pro Tan.
And we're back on Primetime Muscle. This is a favorite of so many people because we go back through the history and we talk about, and it's always subjective, our opinions, maybe your opinions, maybe they're not. The best arms in bodybuilding. Is that today? Is it the best? Or there's some historical arms that we're looking at?
Man.
Robbie Robertson.
The Black Prince.
The Black Prince is my go-to when it comes to arms. No, I've watched as a kid training with him personally, and I saw when he would make on a pizza curl, when he would come up, his bicep would come up and then over and then back and then down. Up, over, what I'm talking about,
the peak.
Double scoop ice cream on top of an arm. That's what I would see every time on Robbie Robertson. And he had the brachialis, he had the triceps. I mean, I don't think anyone outshined those peaks ever.
In my opinion, to have the best arms in the history of bodybuilding, a lot of us focus on biceps, but it has to be biceps and triceps.
Yes.
Biceps and triceps. I'm going to tell you that Phil Heath had amazing freaking arms, okay? It was the triceps, it was the biceps, and it was the muscle bellies on the arms. If I could choose one arm to just borrow and go down Santa Monica with a sleeveless shirt, it would be Phil Heath.
One arm to hang out of the car window while you drive.
Yeah. Freakiest arms I've ever seen. Oh, Lee Priest had great arms too, but they were a little bit too compact. They were impressive, but they didn't stretch as much.
Tall, dude. He's only so tall. He's only so tall.
Anyways.
Yeah, tight.
Hey, man.
Oh yeah, yeah. You got short arms too.
Bursting.
You
through
have short, compact
bursting
arms
through
too.
the clothes right here.
Bursting.
Chris, try to do that.
All day,
all day,
baby.
All day. Let me tell you.
All day.
I saw Roelly Winklaar's arms.
It's Roelly.
Man.
But I saw him close up because I trained with him out there in Kuwait. Training the beast. I mean, those arms, bro, you can't even. I mean, his forearms is about big as most people's bicep peaks alone, just the forearms. So, I mean, you can't go wrong with those guys mentioned already.
And, a few months back, we shot Olympia Battle with Ramon and C-Bum. Do you remember we had dinner afterwards? I think it was a Monday or a Tuesday. It was a few months back.
Shit's crazy, man.
And shit's crazy, my man. He had those forearms.
Oh,
Ramon laying down on the table. They look like somebody's legs.
Yeah.
I was like looking at this guy and going, why do you have such big forearms? And the reality is he did a lot of bars in Acre, where he's from. So incredible arm development. And nowadays, the competitor in the open that has the biggest, most impressive arms, in my opinion, is Nick Walker.
And when you talk about forearms, Phil Heath had the massive forearms. Nick Walker has those massive forearms.
Yeah. Now, Phil Heath just did an interview on Cutler Cast, and they're talking. He's wearing a white T-shirt, and he's got the same Ramon thing going on. He's just resting those two animals, you know what I mean? Those two freaking dogs on each side. Huge arms. Hey, arms are something that are attractive, not only in your bodybuilding physique, but also magazines and social media and all that. Unfortunately, you don't see a lot of guys going there and saying, I got the most incredible calves,
Well, that's so funny you said, because Generation Iron just ran another one of their articles. It said, Jay Cutler's 7 tips for sleeve busting arms.
Forearms but and biceps.
It's never 7 tips for great calves.
And listen, if you're really an insider of bodybuilding, let me take you to school, Chris, right now. If you're really an expert to bodybuilding right now.
That's so funny. Funniest thing you ever said in your
Remember, there was
short adult life.
remember there was an article about the biggest calves in bodybuilding, and it was with Ben Pakulski and with Eric Frankhauser.
Yeah.
And who else? There was another guy there, Evan Centopani, I think.
No. It was
Ben Pakulski.
No, the Italian.
Eric Frankhauser.
Oh no, he won in the USA '91.
Mike Matarazzo.
Mike Matarazzo.
Mike Matarazzo was before these guys. On this article, it was on Flex Magazine.
In this article.
I said in this article.
On. You said
okay.
on.
Okay, in this article, you correct me one more time. I want to see if Nico protects me right now.
You can try to correct me.
Nico's going to protect me right now.
You can try to correct me.
Or no, just Tim.
But I can't correct
We're still laughing
you.
about you taking Chris to school, so we're still waiting.
Let's go.
So, Eric Frankhauser, Ben Pakulski, and somebody else, there was an article in Flex Magazine where they emphasized calves. But for the most part is arms, and arms. And if you have arms, you get the girls. You know what I mean?
Beach body. Curls for the girls.
Girls for the girls.
That's how they do it. Or
tries for the guys.
Tries for the guys?
tries for the guy.
Excuse me, what does that mean? Can you clarify on that? Elaborate on that?
Joke.
Yeah, my son said that once when I was training him for football. I said, let's get in here, buddy, do some curls for the girls. He said, then our tries for the guys? I said, just lift your weights.
Just lift them damn weights,
Just lift your weights, boy. So who else historically? Let's go back 60s, 70s. Is there anybody iconic back then?
Oh, you can't, Sergio Oliva had great arms. Even Arnold. Nobody can deny Arnold's known for weak legs, but also
you better
chest
put the Black Prince in there.
And legs. Well, of course, Robinson was amazing.
Put some respect
but he's
on
your
his
fan.
name.
Robinson was amazing. You know who else had a combination of shoulders and triceps that was incredible?
Who?
Kevin Levrone. But the shoulders and triceps. Not the peak, maybe.
Yeah, not the
now,
peak.
you talk about there's certain poses that normal people can't do because they're just not built like that. The Sergio Oliva victory pose for Sergio and Sergio Jr. to get those arms up there.
I just hate to see people doing it. They shouldn't be doing it.
They shouldn't be doing it.
Shouldn't be doing it.
No. Because you don't have that structure of arm that is so full front to back, side to side.
Or you don't.
That was a glorious set of arms.
The issue what's happening right now is that all these guys, in the past, Sergio Oliva, Frank Zane, Muhammad Makawi, they came to the stage to create their own poses, to create their own legacy. There's a whole issue with Milos Sarcev and Bob Chicarrillo on that. Because Milos believes that bodybuilders should not just do their mandatories. They should create their own individual poses that emphasize their bodies. That's the beauty of bodybuilding. You know, Milos is a highly intelligent guy, so you gotta listen to him.
He has a point
because he does have a great point. Nowadays, these guys, they're just trying to recreate some of the poses of the past. Well, my question is, the guys of the past, they didn't recreate from anybody, they created. And why not create your own pose? Why not, Ramon, knowing that you have huge arms, create a pose that emphasizes your arms? Why not Derek Lunsford, knowing that he has this amazing back double biceps, create a trademark back double biceps on his posing routine?
No more cover songs. No more cover songs. Write some originals.
Some guys don't have the great body parts to put into to make the pose successful. They're just doing it because they see it on Instagram or YouTube or something like that, and they just throw it in the routine.
Nasser had some wicked arms too.
No, huge,
gloriously huge.
Huge.
All right, guys, we have another break, and we'll be back with more Primetime Muscle right after this. And we're back with our final segment of Primetime Muscle today. Guys, everybody wonders, what does it take to be a judge? That's going to fall squarely on your shoulders. We're wondering, everybody wonders.
How did you get there?
Yeah.
So, I think a lot of people ask me this question, what it takes to be a judge. First and foremost, you got to be in the industry, right? You have to be in the industry. A lot of them are competitors. A lot of them are officials. I didn't have a extensive career. I competed in 1994, and then in 2013, I did a men's physique show here in Miss Arizona. That was the extent of my competitive career. I was a fitness model for Zenadrine in 2009, 2010. I always worked for Gold's Gym. And John Lindsay came up to me and said, hey, we're going to start this new division called men's physique. The guys look just like you in the magazines. Do you want to come in and judge?
The guys look like you. So we want to pattern this whole class of people on you? You?
Continue.
That's what we're doing now? Go ahead, man. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm going to need a Xanax to finish this. I'm telling you right now, Nico.
Wait, so they
thought
they were going to start a whole category because you came out in some board shorts back in 1995.
You're not listening, jackass. John Lindsay said
they look like you.
They're start a men's physique category.
So they want you to judge them.
All of them, they look like fitness models in magazines.
And people are going to make lots of money because they want to look like you.
Like Frank Seppi, like some of these guys, they're going to look like fitness models. I was with Zenadrine in 2009.
You used to be a model?
You can put the pictures on post.
You were a model?
Nico has the pictures on post.
Wait, you were a model?
Yeah,
I was a model too.
On post.
I modeled for some photos too.
You're a model. Where? Okay.
All over Muscle Tech.
You were a great bodybuilder.
I was a Muscle Tech.
You're a great bodybuilder. With that mug, you can't be a model anywhere in this planet.
You just took me.
Can I just finish here?
I didn't make it personal. I was just asking a question.
But the question was, as you come in, what does it take for a person? And your story. We know your story, and we got to the point where you were judging local, and then now you're a IFBB pro judge.
So you start judging local. And you're consistent.
What's the test judging like?
So when you come in to test judge a regional show, you come in 3 times to test judge, and then they compare your scores against the head judge, and you need to be 90%.
Oof.
So right off the bat, a lot of guys go, but you got to know the sport. You got to know you've been watching for a long time, or you're a competitor. And then the hardest day for a judge is when you go to the nationals or USAs and you test judge, because then you got to get 95% right from what Sandy and Steve Weinberger are doing.
But what about what's right? Like, because when you go when you judge, like.
Steve Weinberger has his scores. Sandy Williamson,
be like his?
Yes. You gotta get 95% equivalent to their scores because they are the most experienced judges. So you gotta be right there. And a lot of people, when I test judge, I did it at the Nationals in 2008, and I was with 6 people, and I was the only one that passed. And on the second day, it was just me and one female judge from Mississippi that we stayed. The reason is because they're moving the competitors so fast as the Nationals as the USAs. And all of a sudden, if you don't have the speed, you're like, oh, whatever. I missed this class. You know what I mean?
I'll tell you what, that's so easy to do. I was in Australia, and our good friend Tony Doherty gave me the opportunity to judge. And it's tough, man. I had like 40 people in the men's physique class, and the same in the bikini. And it was like, man, you got to be so fast. It's so hard. And you got to give judges a lot of respect because, at the end of the day, I may be critical on judgments or who should be first or second, but it is a hard job, and you got to be respectful of it because it's so fast, and your mind and your eye got to be so sharp.
How did you originally learn the criteria, and then how do judges keep up with the changes? I know it's like being an accountant or an IRS guy or you got to keep up with all the policy changes.
So, we meet in Pittsburgh every beginning of the year, and we go over the criteria every single time with the head judges, with everybody. And, we have constant communication through memos, through, shows that have happened. We have our groups. We talk to each other. We know the tendencies. Hey, I'm starting to see this stuff now on stage. Guys, pay attention. But like Chris said, in the end of the day, judging some of these national shows, pro qualifying events, where you have 60 people in one class and you need to get it right. And you're talking about, you're seeing the guys and you're putting, okay, this guy is on the first call out. This guy is on the second. This guy is going to be on the fourth call out, fifth call out. And then you end up with only 3 guys on the first call out. So then some of the guys that were on the second call out, you bring them in on the first call out. So every time I have a competitor at the USAs or Nationals, I put A plus or A without nothing next or A minus. And I do that A, B, C, D, E, F, G, because I'm going to have 60 competitors. And I need to know where to put each one of them. Now you go into the Mr. Olympia and you're judging Heidi Schuppen, Derek Lunsford, Nick Walker. You gotta have tons of coffee. You have to rest your eye because these guys are holding their poses for about 8 to 10 seconds. So you go like this, boom, 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 boom. First, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth.
So that's
speed.
That's when some of these guys are looking to the left and looking to the right, trying to wait for the guy to and trying to look cool doing it, and trying to wait for the guy to hit his shot first. You got to get your shot first and fast and hard when you're doing this, when you're competing, because the judge only got a certain amount of time to look your way. You have to be ready to go and, in your form of your pose. There's no way you can be waiting and expect to get a good placing or a good call.
You ever been way off?
In terms of judging, no. I mean, I've been judging the Olympia for 4 years. People think that a lot of judges, they see a different way, and we might see some different ways. A lot of calls are not unanimous. You've had Brion and C-Bum. It was a 1-point decision. Shanique and Sarah Viegas was a 1-point decision. And then sometimes it's unanimous. That guy just dominates the stage. Derek Lunsford and Heidi Schuppen was not unanimous, and people disagreed. I thought Heidi won prejudging and finals. Steve Weinberger thought that Derek won prejudging but lost finals. And that's perfectly fine. That's part of the sport. What Chris is saying is absolutely right. My advice is be the first one to hit the pose and the last one to come out of the pose. Make your transition the shortest, and you'll catch the judge's attention.
One thing, Tarek, I got to put out there for some of you younger bodybuilders or competitors. When you hit your shot, and I learned this from the man himself, Joe Weider, the original and the #1 and the only godfather in bodybuilding, and that's Joe Weider. Don't get it twisted. So he told me, Chris, go look into the mirror. We were in the bathroom at Joe Weider's office at the facility. He's got me this close to the mirror. He said, now hit her bicep, hit her front of her bicep. So I hit her bicep, and he's like, okay, what do you see? And slowly I started to see more definition. I started to see more fullness of the bicep. And just right seconds between in front of your eyes, you start to see a change. So and he said, and Chris, and when you don't hit your shot first, you never get a chance to take a full advantage of the pose, because the pose is going to manifest itself into a greater physique. And that's where a lot of bodybuilders go wrong, by trying to wait and see who's gonna hit their shot first so they can look really cool. You're missing the boat. I
had a guy on the 212 at the 2022 Mr. Olympia, Felipe Moraes, where Steve Weinberger called back double biceps, and he hadn't hit the side triceps yet.
Yeah, I remember that one.
And he came for feedback, and I said, you're last place on that pose. You just didn't present that pose. We can even look at what you showed, because we are now waiting for back double biceps, and you're still trying to get the side triceps. If you don't hit the pose, you're gonna lose. Don't piss me off, but it makes me mad to see guys trying to run their hand up and through their hamstring and glute and quad, and trying to accentuate that they're in shape and they have a nice cut here.
and it's just wasting time. It's wasting complete time.
They're letting the judges know where the hamstring is.
In
We've
case you
never
forgot.
looked at the hamstring.
And then you hit a back
I thought it was right next to your forehead.
Then they got to put their hands by their glutes first, make sure it's in, and then they go up here. And it's like, dude, like you're missing the whole boat. Like you could have been in your pose already, but you doing the stupid amateur hour stuff.
So Tarek, like anything else, there's always somebody who said, I could do that better. I wish I was doing that. Someone wants to judge. How can they start the process off going to who at the NPC and saying?
So you can reach out to any NPC chairman, any NPC vice chairman, and say, listen, this is my experience in the sport. In California, we have a test. We have a test. Who was the first Mr. Olympia? You have to answer some of these questions. We have a test. Hey, what are the national shows right now? How many? We have a specific test.
They talk like that?
Yeah, we have.
What would be my qualification? I'm overqualified or what?
Oh, obviously you're a former athlete, you're a legend, you take that test. Let's suppose you pass that test. One of the things that I've noticed with athletes is the speed. You get they know what's going on stage. If I can get any pro bodybuilder to go there and say, yeah, this guy is the winner. But you can't get a pro bodybuilder that's never judged to judge a national show with 60 guys and to place everybody on first, second, third. That needs experience.
Dude, I like when they used to put less people up there at a time, like top 3.
No, Chris.
Add 1.
Chris, no, that's awesome. But nowadays, you're going to have 60 people at the Nationals. Are you going to call how many on the first call out? 3?
I was talking about the pro shows.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we just had 60 at the Olympia.
Okay,
You're going to call 3 guys on the first call out?
That's not going to be like that next year. But anyway, when you're putting up like 6, 8 people, how are you getting a great call? And then who did you leave out of that first call out? Like, cause I'm seeing that some people deserve to be in a call out and some people didn't deserve to be in a call out.
Now you're talking about interpretation. But 6 to 8...
I'm just talking about from my eyes. I say, oh, this guy missed. This guy should have been in that first call out, or this guy like. Are they letting people go back?
Well, what happens is this.
Because you see some people
a lot of people have questions about that. When you see them coming and doing their individual, judges are already saying who should be on the first call out. So at the Olympia, we have pieces of paper where we write on the first call out, number 1, number 7, number 3, number 8, number 9. These papers go around and they get to Sandy.
Okay.
Yeah, they get to Sandy. Sandy looks, and Steve, they look at all those papers and they see, okay, number 7 got 11 judges saying he was on the first call out. And then once they see that all those athletes, they pick the 6 or the 8 competitors that have more votes to be on that first call out.
So you mean to tell me the head judge is taking into consideration what the other judges think they should be in the first call out before they
Correct, yeah.
All right. Well, take us into consideration, folks. As always, thanks to the Real Deal Chris Cormier.
Yes, how you doing? Thank you.
Our judge, Tarek Gilgindi.
Great to be here, always ready. Join the NPC, compete. If you don't want to compete, you can become a coach, you can become a judge. Join the NPC, join the IFBB Pro League. One day you can be at the Mr. Olympia, you can judge the Mr. Olympia. Bodybuilding world is open to you.
And join us by liking and subscribing to Primetime Muscle and sharing with your friends. We'll see you next time.
Leave some comments.